last feature. So last but not least, this is something brand new that we're really excited to show you. And really building this has come through talking to developers like you. So actually learning about how you've been building your applications, talking to end users, seeing what the frustrating components are around this. So we're really excited to show this off. This is brand new. And this is called Magic Link. So what is Magic Link? So what is the context for this feature? Well, passwords suck is really the short version. Passwords become unwieldy and difficult to remember in organizations. If you think about building a sign-in system, you create all this friction for your users around trying to remember a password or what system they've used to sign in. Did I use Twitter? Did I use Facebook? What did I sign in with? And so with Magic Link, we've built the easiest way to authenticate, the easiest way for users to sign into your app ever. And these are even, for users that aren't within an enterprise yet, maybe they're just at whatever company, this is the best way to get started. And our solution here is just to email the user a link, like a one-time use link that they click and they're signed into your app. That's it. They put in their email, they click the link, they're done. And this is something you've probably seen before. There's actually a few products that have implemented this before. Slack does this. So on mobile, and I think also on desktop, but on mobile specifically here, when you're signing into Slack, you're given the option to either type in your password, say you have a really long password or something, you need to go get it from your password manager, or you can just use Magic Link. And Slack will send you a link to sign in. You click that in your email, boom, you're signed into the app. No passwords. Notion actually did this as well. So this is a screenshot from 2018, but Notion actually had something where there's a code to log in, and actually if you click that line underneath login, that'll log you in to Notion. And this, I believe, was Notion's primary way to do auth for a long time. They didn't have passwords. Medium actually also did this too. So to sign into your Medium account, you didn't have to remember what your password was or remember, did you sign in with Twitter or what? You just send you a link, you click that, you're signed in. Easy as that. So this is really a super, super low friction, super effortless way for users to sign in. We're incredibly excited about being able to give this to developers, see what you guys will do with it. And to show a demo, I'd like to hand it off to Rohan to talk through the integration, look at some code, and see how Magic Link is actually implemented in practice. Rohan?
Thanks, Michael. So here, we're going to spend a few minutes and talk about the steps that are necessary to integrate Magic Link into Memex. So as Michael mentioned, and as we've seen earlier in this talk, authentication is really critical to your application, whether it's from a security perspective or as a tool to unlock more enterprise deals. And over years, authentication becomes more complex, and as security requirements become more complex, it's just as difficult to remember what passwords you're using. So let's go over the steps it takes to integrate Magic Link with WorkOS. So it comes 3 really simple steps. The first thing is, a user is going to arrive at your application. You want to create a passwordless session for this user. And all this is going to do is it's going to represent a one-time, unique, short-lived token that can be confirmed to authenticate your user. After you've generated this passwordless session, the next step is to take the confirmation URL and then send this over to the user. And then after the user opens their email, clicks on the link to confirm it, they'll be redirected back to your application, where you as a developer kind of follow a similar oAuth flow, take an authorization code, and exchange it for a profile. And then your user is logged in. So let's dive into these steps a little bit deeper and see what it looks like from a coding perspective. So the first thing you're going to do is create the passwordless session. You have a login form, the user is going to input their email, and you're going to create this passwordless session. So for here, we'll use my email, rohan@workos.com, and we'll indicate that this session is a Magic Link. The response you'll get for this session object is going to have some metadata in it. It'll have some sort of standard identifier, but more importantly, you'll get the expiration time for this session, the actual direct link to confirm this session, and the user who it's for. The next step is to email the magic link over to the user. And in this step, you have two options. Let's say you're starting out development, or maybe you haven't built out a mailer client yet, or you just want to test something out really quickly. WorkOS offers a really easy one-line way to send the magic link for you. If you just grab the identifier from the previous session response and pass that through, we'll send the email for you. The second option is maybe you want to brand and include some logos in your email. You can grab the link off the session object and then send it over with whatever transactional mailer service you have, as long as the link gets to the user somehow. And the final step here is the authorization callback. So in our previous talk, we were setting up redirect URIs where users would be redirected to. We would take an authorization code, send it over to WorkOS, and we would receive a profile back. The really great thing about this step is it's the exact same endpoint as WorkOS SSO. So if you've already integrated with us for SSO, you've completed the final mile for integrating with Magic Link. You don't need to do any code changes. All you'll need to do is the previous two steps, and that's pretty much it. So let's take a look at what this looks like in a live demo with Memex. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, great. So here I have the login screen for Memex, and I'm going to log in with my user. And let's pretend we've done some UI work, and we've added a button that can send Magic Link. And on the right here, I have a controller that's wrapping this Magic Link. And my goal here is to take the email that's being sent over, generating the session, and then sending the Magic Link over. So if we go over the steps that we just saw in the slides, the first thing I want to do is create a passwordless session for the email that's being inputted. So this is a Magic Link session. And I'm going to pull the email off the form that I get. And then for the second step, we have two options. The first option is we can pull the Magic Link directly off the session object, and then you can send it however you'd like. But for the purposes of this demo, we're going to use the WorkOS API, and we're going to send the Magic Link directly over. So we'll use the passwordless API. And that's pretty much all there is to this. In 2 lines of code, we successfully integrated a passwordless authentication flow into Memex. So let's see what this looks like on the application. When I go, I can click Send Magic Link, and I'll get a notification that I've received an email. So I can come into my email, and I'll see that I get a sign-in link for Memex. And the other great part is if I come into my WorkOS dashboard, I have connection information about the Magic Link. So from a debugging perspective, you can see as sessions are created, as your tokens are expiring, or as they're being delivered to your users. So I can come into my email, go ahead, click Sign into Memex, and I'm immediately redirected back to the application. And if we come back to our WorkOS dashboard, refresh, we'll see that the most recent passwordless session has been verified. So in just a few minutes, and with 2 lines of code, we very easily have integrated a passwordless authentication flow into our application. And that's all there is to it. Okay, back to you, Michael.
Thanks, Rohan. So that is WorkOS Magic Link. This is the absolute easiest way to sign users into your application. It's totally universal. It doesn't matter what identity system they might be using or what email address they have. All you need to do is collect their email, send them that link, and they'll sign in. Your application never needs to store passwords. You don't need to figure out salting and hashing and bcrypt and all of that. And this is a seamless on-ramp to single sign-on. You're essentially already building half of the SSO experience. So if you have some users that want to upgrade to a SAML authentication or you want to add Okta, you're like halfway there already. And we're launching this as a free API. So we want everyone to be able to use this. You can get started with this as soon as you want. It's super, super fast to drop in. I think this will be really easy to, or really great to use for like hobby projects too, when you don't want to have to build, a full auth connector or store passwords in a database or salted hashed passwords. You can use this. So it's Magic Link, brand new today, and that's the fourth feature that we're chatting about.